Hello and welcome to Falcon Blues TV. I'm Callum Davies, back with another match preview for this weekend's game where Everton are going to be travelling to West Ham. It's a 4:30 kick-off on Sunday the 9th of May and we're going to be shown live on Sky Sports. Before we get into the video, if you wouldn't mind going down, liking and subscribing, we'd really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So West Ham come into this game looking to do the first double over Everton since the 1972-73 season. And obviously Everton have just come off the back of another poor home result. A 2-1 loss against Villa, who they were by far the better side in the game. In the first half they created so many chances, they could have been well out of sight. And the fact that it took a late bit of a screamer from El Ghazi to win the game, it just doesn't paint the picture of how I think the game went. I thought we were poor all over the pitch, especially in midfield, which is kind of what I think lost us the game. And obviously a few little mistakes here and there. But the only person who really came out of that game covering themselves in any glory was Pickford, I thought, because he kept us in it. And that reminded me of when he used to do that about 3 years ago when we were really, really poor. And he wasn't as not hated but disliked as he is now. I feel like he's won himself back into favour in recent weeks with his performances, and that performance against Villa kind of reminds me of that, where we were up against it for a large majority of the first half, and he kept us in the game. And then obviously we lacked the initiative to move on and then actually win that game. West Ham, on the other hand, came from behind to beat Burnley. And they looked really good again, as they have done for the majority of the season, ever since obviously the poor start. And Moyes just seems to have got them playing really good football. And I am quite happy to see it be a team like West Ham, who are similar to Everton in that they're not part of this big six, same as Leicester. And I'd love to see West Ham qualify for the Champions League over a team like Chelsea, obviously, or Liverpool, Spurs. Even though I'm not a huge West Ham fan either, really. But I just think it'd be better for every other football fan other than that of the big six. It just kind of throw a bit of a spanner in the works for the people at the top who don't want teams like that in there. Now, since 2007, West Ham have only beaten Everton 5 times. And I can bring up a few little stats that don't really help Everton if you were to go by history. And then obviously the form in recent weeks is even worse. Our away form, as I say quite often, is our saving grace. We've won quite a few away from home. But the way that we are playing, home or away, it doesn't really fill me with confidence. We do have a few people back. We are missing a few. But when I look at the West Ham team and the form that they seem to be in, they've got Lingard, Souček, both on 9 goals. Souček obviously scored against us in the last time we played them at Goodison, the winner actually in that 1-0 win. Lingard's been on fire since he came in on loan in January. They've got Bowen on 8. They spread the goals around well, and Antonio scored twice against Burnley. I think he's such a good striker when he's fit. Obviously he has a lot of issues with being fit, but I think he does everything that I would want an Everton striker to do. Run around, try the hardest, put themselves about, be a nuisance. And it is what Calvert-Lewin does for the most part. I just think Antonio is a little bit better with his feet. So West Ham obviously pose that threat with the way that they spread the goals, but they also, as Sky Sports will remind you, every time they get a set piece, every time they play, they have the most set piece goals in the league this year. I think Everton have gone through patches this season where we've been comfortable defending set pieces, and then we've also gone through patches where we've looked incapable of stopping them. If we pull out one of the performances, or the set piece performances, where we can't defend them, we will concede like 2 or 3 set piece goals, because they know how to take a corner. Cresswell's in-swingers to a Craig Dawson header. If we don't defend that properly, it'll be the easiest goal they'll ever score. On the bright side, Everton have won our last 4 games out of 5 that we've been in London. We normally don't have a great deal of success in the capital, but obviously Chelsea is the only loss that we've suffered in recent visits there. So I suppose if you're going to latch on to anything, It's that and the fact that they've conceded, I think it was 2 or more in 4 of their last 6 games. So they do concede goals. Conceded 3 against Newcastle, 3 against Arsenal, 2 against, I think it might have been Wolves. So they like to concede goals. Obviously, they also score them. So if Everton can keep it solid at the back, which we probably won't, but if we can, there will be goals to be taken there. Now, as I said, the midfield issue for Everton is one that will hopefully be fixed because Ancelotti revealed that Doucouré is back and will be fit for the West Ham game. I can't believe how quickly he's recovered from a fractured foot. But whether he actually will be fully fit remains to be another thing. Probably won't be able to play the full 90, although knowing Doucouré, he'd probably be able to play as much as he wanted. James is one that pulled out late from the Villa game. I thought we missed him a lot because we just couldn't really break down Villa. It took a set piece to break them down, and other than that, I can't really remember a great deal of chances that we created. So he's also out for this game as well, Ancelotti said, and then, of course, Gabamin is injured. West Ham have had a few injuries here and there, but only minor ones. Obviously, Rice is the big one who isn't fit, I think, for this game. And I'm not sure whether I read somewhere that Mark Noble is fit either. So it'll be interesting to see who they play in the midfield. In terms of Everton, I think he'll probably stick with a similar team. I think he does have to make some changes because the game wasn't good enough. And every game he comes out and questions the attitude of the players. But he needs to just find the ones that are bothered and give them time. And the ones that aren't bothered, get rid of them. Now in goal, Pickford will obviously start and you'll have Dean and Coleman at full-backs. I would like to see Mina come back in. I personally think he's our best centre-back, alongside Godfrey, who's probably up there, but maybe a little bit young at the moment. I mean, obviously he doesn't really say much because he's been brilliant all season, but I do think Mina is our best centre-back in terms of the least mistakes he makes. Holgate, while at times looks like a good defender, obviously does have his hiccups as he showed for the first Villa goal. Now the midfield 3, I would personally drop Gomez. I don't think he's been nearly good enough, and I think since the ankle injury that he suffered against Tottenham a season ago, he's not really been the same player, which is a shame. But he just seems to have lost a yard of pace. Doesn't really try that hard, it seems, and he seems to have just lost all the quality that we saw in his first loan spell. I could see a midfield 3 of Davies, Allan, and Sigurdsson being employed if Doucouré isn't fit. I think Doucouré will start in that Davies position that I just mentioned, if, of course, he is available. But I really don't want to see Gomez play again, personally. I just don't think he's got what it takes. He can't really unlock defences the way that we expected him to be able to. Now the front 3, with James' absence, means that Iwobi will start, most likely. Which again, I don't really think he's good enough. Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin on the left and up front. I think with Richarlison, I feel like he's gone off the boil a little bit, and he does need to get himself back, kind of firing like he was in that little purple patch, because this really hasn't been a good season for him at all. Calvert-Lewin obviously scored his 15th league goal against Villa. We could do with him grabbing a few on the weekend, because I think we're going to need all the help we can get for what is, I think, a pretty strong West Ham side. They have Fabianski in goal, and I think both their fullbacks are very similar to the Baines Coleman that he used to have when he was manager of Everton. Cresswell, I've always thought, is quite similar to Baines. Great set piece taker, good going forward, and I think he's going to cause us a lot of trouble on Sunday. Soufal on the other side is another one who I think is good. He bombs up and down the right hand side, similar to how Coleman used to. And then Diop will probably drop out for Ogbonna next to Craig Dawson. Souček will most likely start in midfield. He's become one of their most important players this season, and if Noble's fit, he'll play alongside him. You'd imagine the 3 in front of them would therefore be Lingard in the hole, and then Ben Rama and Bowen either side of him. Bowen didn't start against Burnley, so you would assume that he would get brought in for this game, and if he's fit, Antonio will probably start up front. I really don't don't fancy us with Antonio up front. He's going to cause us so many issues. I think if he starts Holgate, Antonio will absolutely bully Holgate. It's just he's the kind of striker he is. It just doesn't really fit well with a player like Holgate, who, while he has bulked up in the past year and a bit, he still isn't really like Mina or Keane, or if you look upwards, the likes of Diaz and Van Dijk. You know, he doesn't really have that kind of physical presence, and he'll probably get there eventually, but right now I think a player like Antonio would bully him. So in terms of what it would mean, I think it means a lot more for West Ham than it does for us. We are really not looking in a good spot for Europe now. I think every time I say we might still be in the running, we drop a poor performance, and again, it looks unlikely. But the points always say that we can get back into it, but I personally don't think it's really there for us anymore, because I just don't think we have the quality to see it out. Now, West Ham are in 5th at the moment, but if they were to win, they'd go level on points with 4th place Chelsea. And as I said, I'd rather them get it than Chelsea. So I do hope they have a good run in. I hope, however, they do slip up here. I'd love an Everton result, because a result here would put us back in contention, because we don't have a tough remaining games. I think we've got Wolves, Villa again, away from home, thank God. Already relegated Sheffield United, and then obviously City on the last game of the season. So there's points to be picked up. If we can maybe snatch a win here, it's definitely there for the taking. If Everton did manage to squirm a win, we would go above Liverpool, and I think we'd go level, a point behind 6th place Spurs. So that's well in amongst the European spots, Europa League and the European Conference. So if we can manage a win here somehow, then we are right back in it. But in terms of a prediction, I can't really go with an Everton win. Every time I do with my blind optimism, it never comes off. I think our only saving grace is our away form, and even then, I just can't really see anything other than a draw or a West Ham win. I'd say it'd be 3-2, 3-1 to West Ham. I'll go with 1-1, because that's a good result, I'd say. The way the form they're in compared to the form we're in. But you can let us know in the comments down below what you think the result's going to be. And thank you very much for watching. Up the Toffees.